still holding out hope that this Spanish Zerg player can really make something happen. So we'll see what happens here on Ice and Chrome LE as we get on into map number 1 of the day.
And on the bottom left-hand side, he announced yesterday, or maybe the day before that, he has just joined Exxon Gaming, the Spanish Zerg player. In red, it's Souleer.
And his opponent in the top right-hand side in the blue. It is our Protoss player from Cascade Gaming. His name is SKillous.
Oh, that was a good camera spin.
Really nicely done. Really nicely done.
Thanks, man. I've been
so,
practicing.
Check it out, guys. We're currently right now in Group C of DreamHack EU. And these are two players, as you said, Grant, that desperately need a win. Souleer, our Spanish Zerg player, currently at 0-2-0-4, has not yet won a map today. On the other side of the map, SKillous, currently sitting at 1-1, winning an incredible victory over Soul 2-0 just 2 days ago, but falling to mana earlier, which I think was probably expected. So it's do or die time for Souleer. SKillous would just really like to pick up a win here to keep himself in the positive column to maybe get out of this group.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're SKillous, this is the match where you go, okay, this one is kind of must win. If I want to advance, if I'm looking to get into one of those outlier 3rd or 4th positions, I have to beat those below where I expect to finish, right? Like, you cannot be dropping maps to the players that you consider should be finishing below you. So SKillous will be looking for a clean 2-0 here. Map score very much can have an impact as we go forward. So far, though, this game's starting off pretty normal, Creighton.
I mean, you know, that seems to be the trend, not just on Ice and Chrome, but overall for the last tournament. These players have really been showing a lot of respect to their opponents for the entire series, man.
You have no idea how wrong you are. You missed the Goblin games yesterday.
Oh, that's what it was. I missed the Goblin shenanigans on stream yesterday. How was it? How was it, Grant?
Oh my god. I have no words. If you get the chance, if you're like feeling a bit under the weather laying in bed, watch Goblin versus DNS from yesterday. I mean, he did what we thought he would do, but he did it on steroids. I mean, he proxied everything. He proxied bases. He made so many Void Rays. He lost games where he had less. He won a game where he had less upgrades and less Void Rays. And he won the fight. And we still don't know how.
Hashtag just Goblin things, right?
Yes.
Well, SKillous might be going for those Void Rays as well. Probably less likely, but he's going for a Stargate first opener. Already has the Stalker out. But on the other side, just 3 bases down for Souleer, working on Ling speed, getting his queens out, just everything, you know, going along as expected. Grant, what are the odds we see a Void Ray here out of SKillous in Game 1?
I don't think a Void Ray opening would be massively unexpected. It is very good at hunting down those Lords of Over. We are going to see the Oracle first of all. I still don't think Void Rays are completely out of the question. SKillous is still one of those players that has a little bit of spark, a little bit of cheekiness in him. As you said, he is the lion of the CIS region, but he's certainly a player who's known to throw some stuff out. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see something cheeky, but I think an Oracle is nice. This was a very quick Stargate here. And Oracles plus Adepts always equal at least extra units, maybe Queens being produced.
Yeah, and this is something I really, really like about the Void Ray change right now, is that so many Protoss players, you can go Oracle first into Void Ray, you can go Void Ray first into Oracle Phoenix. It's just like another tool that's been added to the bag of Protoss players to give them a little bit more freedom and a little bit more flexibility in their builds. We do, of course, instead see a second Oracle coming out from SKillous now. He's going to save up those Oracles together and send them across the map. Remember, 2 Oracles can basically one-shot a drone. Yeah. So hopefully, yeah, there it is. So it's like, hopefully he's not going to go for a 3rd or anything. 2 Oracles out, but look at these patrol patterns from Souleer. Really nicely done. He's going to spot those Oracles coming across.
Yeah, Souleer doing his research. He's been reading the big book of Protoss bullshit and is aware of the sort of things that could be coming his way. I do imagine we'll see probably a 3rd taken not too long here for SKillous. He's got a fair few Adepts, but he seems to be keeping them relatively at home. Yeah, he wants to make sure his 3rd goes down safely. We do have those first 2 Oracles now, moving down towards the 3rd base here. Is there a Spore? Yeah, there is. So damage will be done, but Queens are in position. 2 drones. It's a great, great start to a defense here from Souleer, as long as he doesn't fall asleep at the wheel and take any excess damage.
Yeah, and both Oracles getting out with almost no health lost on either of them. Really nicely done there by SKillous to save himself. first little Ling incursion going to happen here at SKillous' natural base, but I think he should be just fine with the Adepts rotating back. These Zerglings shouldn't be able to do too much more. With the third Oracle to drive him away, I think Souleer's going to be pushed back. Third base already down for SKillous, a pretty reasonable time. So I'm really excited to see what long-term SKillous is going for, because he's already getting +1. He's adding on the Robo. It looks like he's just bulking up for some sort of, you know, mid to late game push here. This game could go a bit longer than some of the previous ones we've seen.
Yeah, we may actually surpass the 10-minute mark for the first time in forever. We do see Banelings, Roach Warrens, and a Lair on the way here for Souleer, all of his standard mid-game tools. He is still continuing to drone up heavily, so we're not going to see any, you know, 50 drone Roach pushes in this game. +1 on the way, we can see upgrades. They're going to be slightly favouring our Zerg. We do have a Lings around here, but there's not enough Lings. He may get a couple of sentries, and that's nice, because that sentry energy will be essential for a push for SKillous when he decides to go. But quite a lot of Lings went down. 19 for 3 sentries, that's not great.
Yeah, I think it's still worth it, though. I think some of those Lings went down a little earlier, so maybe it wasn't all 19, but still really nice to get, as you said, those sentries down for the energy. Won't be done later. Oh my god, that was a kill, not a cancel from SKillous. Holy smokes. That's a huge blunder from our Spanish Zerg player Souleer. That is not a mistake that you can afford to make in the DreamHack Masters EU grant. Not canceling that hatch and therefore not saving yourself 225 minerals. Huge mistake.
Yeah, 6 gateways now on the way for SKillous, as he will be going up. Wow, he's only stayed on 2 gates this entire time. So something Hearthstone did for a while against Terran, where he would stay on like 1 or 2 gateways up until a third, and then just do a gateway explosion. Of course, it's risky, but when you have 3 oracles, you're pretty safe against anything Zerg can throw your way. You can also always add on a Void Ray if a Roach push was to come. So I like this from SKillous. His economy is great, equal in drones. I mean, he's very even on supply, and he's about to really start exploding. Nice revelation here. SKillous seems to be in the control seat right now. We'll have to see where our Zerg player is going to go with us.
Great scout there from the Overseer from Souleer, getting all the way through main, natural, and third, so he will have a good idea what that gate count is. He might not be able to read that it's going to be Charge Lot Archon just yet. He's seen the Templar Archives going down, but I'm not sure if he's seen, pardon me, if he knows that it's going to be Charge. Often Archons are mixed in, even without Charge, just because their splash damage is so good. Right now, though, Ling Bane on the other side for Souleer. In fact, the number of Roaches on the field is at only 10. I thought Souleer might go for a couple extra Roaches, maybe go for some extra pressure. But as you said earlier, Grant, really SKillous in the driver's seat right now. Souleer's just kind of been trapped back on his 3 and now 4 bases for much longer than those like. Is that a Dropper Lord coming in?
Oh, yeah, it is. Looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit of funk coming here from Souleer as he loads up those Baneling landmines into the dropship, and he's gonna napalm them. We can see here there is a cannon in the mineral land, but a cannon will not take down an Overlord quick enough. There are a couple of Archons just to the north, some Zealots with charge as well, but of course they don't want to be going in, and now here it comes!
Yeah, a lot of damage going down. These Oracles getting some shots, but here come the Baneling bombs, and we're going to see if they can get anything done. Oh, they can indeed. I was just about to point out, of course, those are only +1 Banelings, which means it does take 2 to kill a probe. But on the interim, oh my god, so much going down on the other side of the map here. Was that an Immortal going down and some Stalkers as well? Wow, SKillous really trying to muster up an attack there at the natural, but not able to find any damage. And now Souleer pushing through the middle of the map here with a lot of Lings. I imagine we'll see some of those turning into Banelings. He might be going for a bust or a cancel at this 4th base of SKillous.
I think he's going for it. He's down in workers, only at 67, which is very low for a Zerg player at sort of the 9-minute mark. Of course, he did just lose 5 or 6, but you can see he's making nothing but units. +2's about to finish. We've got a bit of a timing attack going on. And I said this game may make 10 minutes, but I could have been wrong here because Souleer, he's being a little indecisive. I think if he wanted to go, he could have gone then. He definitely had a window. Before +2, I guess there's a lot of cannons. Oh my god, there's a lot of cannons here. 5 on the 3rd.
SKillous being ultra careful there at his 3rd base. Of course, the 4th base was canceled, which is a nice little win for Souleer. And he's moving into Spire behind this just to give himself some more options. We should, of course, see an Infestation Pit down soon, so we can continue those tech ups. I don't know if he can stay on Ling Bane Muta with his Mutas out so late. A very late timing on that Spire. Yeah,
the Spire coming on now is sort of an insurance option, I think. I think he really was quite committed to trying to kill his opponent there. And whilst, you know, if you go for a build, you should go for a build. This is an unbreakable position. Like, there's High Templars, there's Storm, there's like 115 cannons, there's everything you could need. We have more Baneling drops loaded up, the Spire coming down, and Souleer still has a decent amount. He's managed to defend very well, as he now hits max. As long as he doesn't take too much damage from any of these drops, which he isn't going to, as he does have Lings in position with good upgrades, then I'm not too concerned for Souleer right now. I mean, yeah, I would like to see an Infestation Pit pretty soon. He's starting ranged upgrades. That's kind of odd to go into range upgrades when you've already got +2 melee. The Prism's going to go down.
Bit sloppy from SKillous on the backside. I'm really not sure what these players are doing. This is a bit of an unorthodox game on both sides, really, with the tech timings that we've seen for both players now. Luckily, SKillous on his 5th base now, his 4th base now, just finishing that up. Souleer's 5th finishing up, so he's staying 1 base ahead of his opponent. He's made up for that worker deficit that he had earlier in the game, and now Souleer, bumping up against maxed out, going to go ahead and throw away some of these Lings and Roaches in an attempt to break the 4th base position of SKillous. Do you think he can do it, Grant?
It's going to be a very tough break. Oracle's coming in now, of course. There is no answer for the Oracles. They're going to be able to get free reign here, and Oracle's pretty good against Banelings, if I can say so myself. They make them pop pretty quick. We will have a slight retreat here coming. We have more Baneling landmines loading up, though. I think he's sort of bluffing that he's going all in into this position. In reality, he's looking for damage with these Baneling drops over towards the 3rd base. The 4th base, of course, is where all the army is. But now we have these Baneling drops coming in. I think he could have just gone and flown into the 3rd there. No, there's a lot of cannons, but I'm pretty sure a couple of connections may have happened. Meanwhile, we see +1 air and a mothership already on the way here for SKillous.
Wow.
I'm starting to get a little bit worried that Souleer's not finding what he needs. Banelings roll in, really nothing there.
Yeah, I was about to point out that Souleer has 54 Banelings on the map, or had 54 Banelings on the map. So he will be able to sneak in through the back door and grab that 4th base, which is a nice win. But the 5th base already down for SKillous, and since the Baneling count was at 54, now all the way down to 15. Sure, he killed 16 probes, but SKillous is now really, really scary. As you said, he's got that mothership on the way. He's double expanding, working on +1 air weapons, and his army actually is pretty terrifying. Souleer going to get this around there. Another cancel on that base as well. You know, Souleer's actually keeping pretty decent pressure up here, but as I said, SKillous, who was previously behind in army supply, is now even on army supply, give or take, and can get some damage done. And these zealot run-bys are really nice, cost-effective ways to keep Souleer back on fewer bases.
Yeah, Souleer needs to get to the point now where he's got the money, he's got the income, he needs to start adding spines to these bases to keep them safe. He's taking quite a bit of damage. His hive is just about to finish up, and we should see almost straight away the upgrades into melee as well as adrenal glands, so we can get some cracklings rocking and rolling. Mothership is nearly out though, and I just don't see an answer for when that mothership is out. Carrier production has begun. Sure, there's a Spire, but there's no bank at all for Souleer. There's no upgrades for air weapons. There's no Vipers yet. There's nothing to deal with this transition that SKillous is very slowly working on.
You're absolutely correct. We see the Greater Spire just finishing up, so I guess he wants to go into Broodlords, which again, an odd choice, but he hasn't seen the carriers yet. So he might just be transitioning to a tech that's not really the best. Souleer's going to have to try and find some damage here with these Ling Bane attacks. He's going to attack on 3 fronts now.
Oh my god, that's cool.
Look at these storms. Just destructinating those Banelings. Really, really effective trades there for SKillous. Souleer getting some damage done, but not enough, really. And then, of course, the army here in the middle getting taken down. He might lose this 5th base, the top side again, the 12 o'clock side again, but I think SKillous is still in a decent position in this game.
Adrenal 1+3 on the way. Lots and lots of Lings being produced. Souleer maybe not being the most cost efficient here. You can see in terms of resources lost, it's a heck of a lot more. But he's not dying. He is finding damage. His upgrades are catching up very quickly. He's going to have Greater Spire. If he starts some air upgrades soon or adds in some Vipers, I don't hate it, man. I really don't. He is going to really struggle to ever break SKillous, though. SKillous right now, the king of static defense. He has batteries, cannons everywhere. His building layout here means this base is untouchable. It is starting to mine out, which is a good thing for Souleer if the game goes longer. But it's a little bit sketchy, I'd say.
Yeah, you know, this is one thing. that SKillous has done really well this game is not just defending, but when we get to the end game, he's going to have such a better army composition than his opponent. And the problem, of course, is always getting to the end game. There's that moment in a Protoss life when you're switching to carriers where you're just terrified because, hang on, big fight. Big fight.
Yeah.
Nice surrounds on these Lings. It looks like the Overseers are going to help clean all of this up. Time Warp goes down. The army of SKillous actually just disintegrating there. Souleer getting some good shots, but the carrier is still out. The mothership is still out, and more carriers are coming in. And what I was saying earlier was that, like, Protoss players have those scary moments when they're on one carrier or two carriers, and it's not really that terrifying. But SKillous has done a good job ensuring that he's going to be able to get to that ultra late game, get those carriers out, and finish the series out while he's ahead. Already, though, Souleer adding on more Corruptors.
Yeah, lots of Corruptors on the way, +1 air weapons. I think at this point for Souleer, it's a little bit late to try and transition into air. There's going to be a big window for SKillous to push in and just kill all of his Corruptors with Archons and carriers and things like that. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe something like Infestors or Vipers. Some of those spellcasters so he can pull them out of position and punish them that way, or even go for some neural parasites and try and win the fight that way as well. I'm really not sure what's going to work because he's down an upgrade in 3/4. Finally, these oracles from the beginning of the game, one of them will go down, the second one... Oh, we've got to fight for positioning.
It's so close. Come on,
never
fellas.
taking the camera off this. He's got it. He's cut him off.
Yeah, he's got it. Wow. Both those oracles from, as you said, from the very beginning of the game, finally going down. I love that Souleer is trying to rebuild this base here at the 7 o'clock position. Obviously, this is the base that's gone down twice now, maybe 3 times. I can't remember. Quite a few times it's been driven back. And look at this. It's happening. The Void Rays getting chronoed out, as are Flux. I always want to call them Flux Capacitors. That's not it. Flux Veins coming out. Meaning those Void Rays are going to be even scarier. But SKillous putting some pressure again on this top 12 o'clock base from SKillous.
Yeah, Souleer's positive. The thing that he's got going for him right now is his army is very, very, very agile. He can get around the map very quickly and punish all these different bases. And SKillous hasn't been able to really set up the static defense wall towards the north side yet. Of course, the south side very well defended, but also almost mined out. So you can kind of ignore it now. SKillous is getting to the point where he really needs another base because he is going to begin to mine out this base as well, I imagine, pretty quickly. Yeah, down to a couple of hundred minerals on a couple of these patches. But I'm just too scared about this air army right now that SKillous has built. He has +2 air weapons, he has +2 shields, now +3 of both of those coming in. And I mean, our Zerg upgrades is just +1 air weapons, no air armor, and no nothing. It's going to be real difficult for Souleer to ever defeat the army. And all the run-bys and stuff are cute, but SKillous is there now. He doesn't need to worry anymore. He isn't going to, we always say, you can't let a Protoss get to this stage. Well, SKillous has got to this stage, and now you have to deal with it, and I'm really nervous about how he's going to do so.
Yeah, and it's mass Corruptors and not a single Viper on the map right now for Souleer. That's such a strange choice, going for Infestor Corruptor instead of the much more orthodox build of scrubbing in just 2 or 3 Vipers to really change things up. The parasitic bombs from the Vipers, obviously, way more valuable, at least in my opinion, way more valuable to get a parasitic bomb off than to try and land the perfect fungal or maybe neural parasite, something really tough to do. So the Lings luckily will pop into the natural, but there's nothing really to get there, just a handful of probes sticking around. One last storm goes down, but what are these going to do? Not a whole lot. And there it is, neural parasite coming down. Souleer going for a very strange competition here.
If he can get the forge, this could be really nice, and he is going to get the shields level 3 denial here. So Souleer making moves, and I like the Infestors. He needed something. He needed something to mix this up, because pure Corruptor isn't going to cut it. Corruptor Ravager isn't bad, but if you can hit those fungals as well to ensure the bios hit, maybe there's a chance. I'm not going to write him off just yet, of course. Souleer is certainly still up against a very strong army. Forge is being remade, +3 air weapons will complete. Lots of Banelings coming in to deal with the ground force, but the ground force right now is like 4 Archons and a few Zealots. It's not the meat of this. The Zealots, of course, mainly being used now for run-bys, and I'm still very scared. There's no +2 air weapons, nothing at all. 1 Viper being made, that ain't gonna cut the mustard. It's rough.
I've never understood that phrase. Who
Neither
in
do
the
I.
world cuts mustard? No
No
one
one.
does. You
just
spread it,
put it on
or you
stuff, right?
squeeze it. Yeah,
Or
I
you put it in sauce or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
I have no idea what people are talking about when they say cut the mustard. It's got to be one of those odd things, and it feels like something that I should know as a person who knows a lot of obscure, weird facts.
Yeah.
But I've just never figured it out. Huge push into the top base here, but Souleer pushing into the other base at 3 o'clock as well. That spike color force moving up quite quickly. Only one storm, but a giant storm going down. But now the real problem is this massive carrier force. 7 carriers, 7 Void Rays, and a mothership bearing down on Souleer. I don't know why SKillous is backing away right now. He needs to go.
There's no infestors. He got 2 infestor upgrades, hasn't made a single one, despite easily having the money. He's actually supply booked. I think he's trying to throw away units at the north side here, so he can maybe make some infestors or something. He's going to play the game prediction here with this stupidly fun Void Ray. It is going to manage to escape. Viper's on the way. Why get 2 infestor upgrades and never build an infestor? I don't understand, Souleer. He's trying to retake all of the bases that he lost, because I actually don't believe there's any efficient mining bases. 1 here, and he's not even fully engassed there. Souleer still has his very, very large fleet of corruptors. We're looking at 35 against 7 Void Rays, 7 carriers, the mothership, and a Phoenix. 35 is a good number, especially with parasitic bombs. I don't hate it. But it's going to come down to how the fight goes, and I'm still... The upgrades will really throw me off. Finally, +2 starts grating.
Finally, goodness gracious, took him long enough. I love the Dark Shrine getting added on from SKillous. Obviously, if you want to keep those upgrades rolling, you gotta keep all the you gotta keep the tech path rolling. And Dark Templar give you a good opportunity to maybe put some more pressure on your opponent. Right now, though, SKillous can just move through this. He's got some storms, he's got some archons. If those corruptors stack up on top of each other, they're going to be dead meat. So, and I feel like SKillous just has a way superior army composition here. But some good parasitic bombs might be able to change some stuff. There's one nice yoink. One carrier does go down instantaneously from the corruptors. But we can see SKillous, as we said, moving through every single base of Souleer and just mowing it down. Oh,
yeah, the
time
storms,
warp, the
feedbacks. Yeah, these storms of feedbacks really softening up this army. You can see all of the corruptors dropping to the orange and the red. A couple left in the yellow HP, but I mean, the army right now is just so phenomenal for SKillous, and Souleer has no bank. Look at SKillous's bank.
Yeah, Souleer's not been playing the most efficient game. If you look at the resources lost tab, you'll see it's almost twice as efficient for SKillous as it is for Souleer. Wow. That's a crazy resources lost tab. I rarely see them that high, even this late in the game. Very impressive, very impressive. But yeah, +2 air armor on the way. Finally, a couple DTs getting warped in. Those could be really frustrating to deal with if they made it all their way into the main and maybe took out some tech or something. But right now, SKillous playing it cool, playing a little bit soft, and wow, trying to expand his opponent's 6th base location. That's a ballsy expansion there from SKillous.
Yeah, the scariest thing right now is sure these corruptors very slowly regain health, but it ain't going to be quick, and no one in the world has enough transfusers. The storms go down, corruptors once again dropping to within an inch of their life. They are needing some life support right now, and there's just no answer to get these back up. Of course, the Protoss units, if he picks off one, it goes down, but SKillous has the bank. If he doesn't pick it off, shields recharge. So the Protoss air army considerably better right now. It looks like we're going to see the final fight coming in. Actually, Void Rays separated here from the carriers, but the storms are just too much. There's so many corruptors. All of the Void Rays go down, and all of a sudden, it almost looks okay for Souleer, but behind this, he just has nothing.
Yeah, it just has nothing. The Archons are here, and the Archons are going to clean everything up, and Souleer knows it. SKillous is going to grab that first game as the GG goes down. So game 1, going to our Russian Protoss player, SKillous. Grant, I think that's the expected result, but that game took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Both players really drawing it out there.
We made it over 10 minutes. We did it.
Yes.
Finally, our first one. We now move on to Eternal Empire. Another very large map that is typically can go quite long. Very easy to keep your 3rd base. A little bit trickier to get your 4th. But it just seems like SKillous's counterattacks plus his defense was superior. Like, he didn't take run-by damage because he had 59 cannons at every base, plus batteries. The Baneling drops were really cute. I really liked it, and he did find damage with that. But I think if I'm Souleer right now, I'm thinking I need to be more aggressive. I cannot let him get that far into the game.
I agree. SKillous was setting himself up for the ultra long game there, and it paid off. He made that carrier transition fairly easily with no real pressure. And as you said, Souleer just didn't pressure enough out. So just didn't get enough pressure on SKillous and didn't cause any trouble. SKillous was pretty much just able to play in sandbox mode for the first 10 minutes of the game, first 15 minutes of the game, and just build whatever he wanted to get up to that terrifying late game Protoss army. So I completely agree. Here on Eternal Empire, game number 2, Souleer needs to find a way to be more aggressive than he was in game number 1. That's really what's going to help him to change a little bit, change his fortunes a little bit.
Yeah, it's he can't be as cost inefficient either. Souleer needs to keep his units alive a little bit longer. He lost so many bases, so many drones throughout that game. He has just asked for a minute maybe to consider how things are going. He's now saying, go, as we load into Eternal Empire, our second map, Creighton. Do you think Souleer has it in him to bring one back?
You know, I really don't think so. I love Souleer, and he's a fantastic player and a very exciting young player from Spain. We don't have that many Spanish players in the scene anymore, and it's great to see a couple of them coming back. But, man, Souleer, I think, is just outgunned just a little bit here in the previous game. We saw that Souleer's outgunned in this series, and we saw that in both micro and macro mistakes that he was making last game.
For now, we'll introduce our players here on Eternal Empire. In the bottom left, now representing Exxon. He's got a lot of fight left in him, I am certain. It's a Red Zerg player from Spain, Souleer.
And his Protoss opponent in the top right-hand side looking for his second match win here in DreamHack EU group stages. It's our Russian Protoss player from Cascade Gaming, SKillous.
Press the wrong button, didn't spin the camera quick enough.
It's all right. I'll find that with my the backspace key accidentally, and will return me to that'll return me to the previous base that I was looking at. So I'll introduce one player, and then I'll introduce the second player and try and zoom in. But instead of zooming in, it'll just go back to the first player's base. I'll seem like an absolute idiot.
I have a really weird keyboard with everything is custom bound for observing. So I use like F12, home, and end. To spin the camera. It doesn't make it. Yeah. I don't know. It's just what I found works. We do see standard openings from both here. Gateway down on the low ground should be most likely a Nexus before core, unless SKillous wants to pile up on some pressure or get a very quick Stargate. Here on Eternal Empire, I do like to see glaive builds and things like that. I don't know if we will see it. I think SKillous is very, very confident with his Stargate play. But we do see that Nexus go down first.
Yeah, we saw him how confident he was with that Stargate play last game, not just in the early game, opening up with a triple Oracle build, and those Oracles stayed alive the entire game, but also at the end of the game, of course, when he's going for Mass Carrier, lots of Void Rays, and the Mothership. So I wouldn't be surprised to see SKillous going Stargate again this game. We'll see if Souleer is able to respond to it. Remember, though, that SKillous didn't get a lot of damage done in the early game with that Stargate. I don't think he needed to, though.
No, he kept the Oracles alive. We literally saw them go down in like the 12th or 13th minute. They provided constant vision, constant threats as well, forced so many spores. And, you force 6 spores, that's 6 drones not droning. So it was a very, very cost-efficient unit choice here from SKillous. And there we go, we do see that Stargate once again, as sort of anticipated. Everything is looking pretty good here from Protoss. As for our Zerg, he's adding on 2 queens. We'll have to see if he goes up for a 3rd or 4th queen. No, he is going to go for the hatch first. We've seen a few players go up to 3 and 4 queens, mainly in ZVT, before they take their 3rd, and take their 3rd about 20 seconds later. But everything's standard here for Souleer.
Yeah, and not too bad, honestly. I'd love to see him grab a couple extra queens here. I'd love to see him actually scout this Overlord and not just piddle around the natural, because he's going to fail to scout the Stargate. And we'll see what SKillous opens with. My guess it's going to be Oracle again first.
Yeah.
SKillous doesn't strike me as the type to go for Void Ray first. You know what? And as they say it, he gets a Void Ray first. Of course he does. Really interesting, because I think in the previous matches, I've never seen SKillous go for a Void Ray first opener. I think he's always gone for those more traditional old school builds. But apparently, even he is not immune to the siren song of a cheaper, faster Void Ray.
Yeah, it is, honestly. It is like a siren song. It's like a mermaid crying to us. We fall for the bait. and then it murders us. Void Rays are going to be the death of me. Especially that series with Goblin yesterday. By the end, I had no voice. I tried to say GG and my voice broke, and then it was awful. Void Ray, of course, very, very efficient at killing Overlords. Not that much slower than Phoenix is now, can still be used to get a good scout. We're going to see him really hunt down Overlords. But Soul here has adapted. Game 1, he sent 2 Overlords. He hasn't this time, and you can see the Overlords he's already sent mostly on their way home.
Yeah, very smart from Souleer. Got to get those back home. Got to save them from the incursion of the Void Ray. That's one of the reasons that Void Ray First is so strong, not just for killing Overlords, but also for cleaning up those Lings. Like it's just, pardon me, like it's just done. Driving that Ling away from the Zelnoggle Watchtower in the middle of the map. Luckily, Souleer is going to be able to scout despite that Ling getting pushed away, and we'll spot the timing of this third base from SKillous. Do you think Souleer is going to find an opportunity here to move out more quickly this game? Or does it look like he's teching back home? I don't think he's going to put any more pressure on SKillous.
No, and I think this is part of the reason why SKillous also got a Void Ray. It's the best defensive unit as well in this early game. And Oracle against Massling is very good, but of course energy does deplete. A Void Ray never runs out of energy because it is a Chad. It is like Omega Chad. So if it was going to be a Roach Ruling or something along those lines, he would have been very prepared. We do have an Oracle coming in. Going to drop down that Stasis Ward, catch one. Oh, that was so cute almost.
Man, he was trying to save that one little drone from being trapped in the Stasis Ward there. Just missed the timing by a second. What's really cool, though, I think, is that both players are teching up again. And this is a lot like last game, where I think at the beginning of this game, we both agreed, Grant, that Souleer needed to be a little more aggressive this game if he wants to prevent SKillous from doing everything he's doing. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be more aggressive this game than he did last game. I mean, he's working on +1. He's grabbing that Bailing Nest, but okay, now he's rebuilding the Hydra Den. Bit of an odd choice.
Yeah,
but he's not like pushing out to put any pressure on SKillous, and that seems like it's a mistake.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Behind this, we can see SKillous is adding on a lot of gateways, Immortals, Charge, +1. Upgrade slightly ahead this time for our Zerg. I like the idea of a Hydra build instead. He's double expanding though.
Wow.
I did hear another very intelligent commentator from the Netherlands say that as a Zerg player, he really likes double expanding because a Protoss player will always commit in some way to trying to cancel your fourth at this level. It's just very unusual that they don't push out with their own third base to try and push or kill the fourth. So why not just take another one? If one gets cancelled, then you've got a backup. But SKillous has seen all of this. He knows, and this may prompt SKillous to go for a push here because this is a lot of investment.
And this is the usual time that we see SKillous going for a push anyway. This game's build order very similar for SKillous. Just like last game, we saw him going with a 2-gate opener into like 6 gates once the third was down, or into 6 more gates once the third was down. And that's what he's done again. All 8 of his gates have just finished up now. And SKillous should be doing a couple rounds of warp-ins once Charge Lot and these Archons are finished up. So a Charge Lot Archon push probably into the 4th base of Souleer. Souleer, though, already in place for it. Those Hydras already out on the map to drive away Oracles, Void Rays, really anything else that SKillous has to throw at him.
Very surprised to see the Hydra range upgrade coming in before the movement speed. Typically we see the speed first so they can get around and deal with anything that is to push them. But that isn't going to be the case. Groove Spine's coming in first here from our Zerg player. There are a lot of Hydras and that makes him very, very safe this game against any early pushes, as long as he has enough Banes, which we see coming in. Centrifugal Hook's not yet done, said it the American way. We do have a run-by coming in here from a few Zealots, Banelings. Okay.
Okay. Tons of Banelings morphed in. Those 17 of them just getting added on. A total of 14 left now. But this pressure on the 4th base is actually pretty significant. 16 drones have already gone down. There's pressure on both this 4th base and the 5th base. The Zealot's going to take down that 5th base. The Zealot's in the natural as well. 20 drones going down. And SKillous has some really, really big, beefy units here. 4 Archons still here and Immortals still here. Not only is the 5th base going to go down, he's going to lose the 4th base too. And enough to tap him out of the